Hi everyone and welcome to Festive Tech Calendar 2025. I am your host Ashraf Ben Alaya and today we are going to talk about GitHub Copilot, agent automation and MCP integration. So let me introduce myself quickly. I am Ashraf Ben Alaya again, Azure Architect, DevOps expert, Microsoft certified trainer since 2020 and proudly also Microsoft MVP since 2024. I'm passionate about building scalable infra on Azure, automating DevOps pipelines, and exploring the world of .NET and GitHub Copilot, of course. Outside of tech, you will often find me talking about games, anime, or food, or enjoying long walks to recharge and find inspiration. So, I'm passionate about simplifying complex tech and sharing that knowledge with the community. Today we are going to explore how GitHub Copilot can transform the way we code, build and automate. So whether you are working with Azure, Infra as Code, Biceps or Terraform, or day-to-day doing development tasks, you are going to see how GitHub Copilot can help us. Before we dive in, I would like to give a huge thanks to the Festive Tech Calendar team for this amazing opportunity to present at such an inspiring global event. Alright, so let's jump in and see how GitHub Copilot can become your AI powered partner in code. Let's get started. Alright, so what is GitHub Copilot? GitHub Copilot is an AI coding assistant developed by GitHub and OpenAI. It helps you write autocomplete and improve code faster, generate tests and documentation, explore APIs, and learn best practice across multiple programming languages. It integrates directly within Visual Studio Code, helping you write code faster by predicting entire lines or blocks based on natural language, common or partial code. It supports dozens of programming languages like Python, JavaScript, C++, Go, Java, and more, and can even help you learn new frameworks by suggestion context-aware code snippets. Today, to obtain or get GitHub Copilot, there is multiple plans. On the website of GitHub, you can find the free edition, which is available to individual developers who don't have access to Copilot through an organization or enterprise. This free plan includes limited access to select Copilot features, allowing you to try AI-powered coding assistance at no cost. There is a Pro edition, which is designed for individual who wants more flexibility, and there is a Pro Plus edition that contains everything that exists in the Pro edition with allowance of premium requests and full access to all available models in Copilot Chat. There is also a business and enterprise editions that are available for organization on GitHub that have GitHub Teams plan or enterprise on GitHub Enterprise Cloud. GitHub Copilot integrates with Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio, JetBrains Edu as an AI-powered coding assistant, suggestion, code computation, generating function, and offering contextual code insights directly within the editor. This enables faster coding and support for various programming languages and frameworks across tools. So, GitHub Copilot shines today in agent mode. Agent mode is when Copilot acts as an autonomous peer programmer, performing multiple steps coding tasks at your command. Copilot agent mode can create apps from scratch, perform refactoring across multiple files, write and run tests, and migrate legacy code to modern frameworks. And when you hear people talking today about vibe coding, they are talking about using the agent mode. Custom instruction, prompts, and chat modes can help you today tailor how Copilot responds and act, whether in agent or chat mode. Copilot and agent mode are available across several different editors and IDE, from Visual Studio Code to Visual Studio to Xcode and JetBrains, and where Copilot works, the instruction and prompts you find in the awesome Copilot repo will work too. Alright. Today we can have custom abstraction as we said. So let's say we are going to start working on a new project and you are working on Next.js project. So instead of writing every time the instruction in the chat, so keep checking with the agent mode, and we may forget we are human after all. So instead of doing that, we can have a custom instructions that are written, and this is how you give Copilot specific context about your team's workflow, your particular style and preference, or maybe coding standards. Custom instructions are contained in a Markdown file, and in it you can provide Copilot instruction on how to understand your project better. Custom instructions define how tasks should be performed, like which technology are preferred or what to check in a code review. So here we have, for example, this custom instruction. To use the custom instruction, we need to create a file called copilot-instruction.md within your project. And here you can put the custom instruction into it. Then start up GitHub Copilot in agent mode and ask it to do something, and like that, it will use the Copilot instruction file that you have put in that GitHub folder. Also, we can use prompts. So prompt files allow you today to compose reusable prompts for yourself and your team. This helps enforce consistency while at the same time reducing prompting, which can become tedious. So reusable prompts are standalone prompts for specific tasks. They describe what should be done with optional task-specific guidelines. With the reusable prompts file, you can specify tools so the prompt know what is available to work with. All right. And we have also the chat mode. Chat mode are predefined configurations that enable you to tailor the AI chat behavior for specific tasks. So the built-in chat mode are for asking questions, making code edits, or autonomous programming in agent mode. Donc, for more tailored chat experience, you can create your own custom chat mode. Custom chat mode consists of a set of instructions and tools that are applied when you switch to that mode. In other words, you can supply personal so the AI can specialize in a task. Let me give you an example. So we can have, for example, here a database admin in agent. It will follow all these instructions and it will play the role of DBA admin. Other example, for example, you want to create a security agent, and this security agent will have, for example, custom instruction right here, and will follow the instruction, for example, to check the code for some stuff that must be respected from the security part. All right. So to have GitHub Copilot on Visual Studio Code, you need to sign in with GitHub or Google account or ghe.com account, and like that you can use GitHub Copilot. So we are going to start a demo. So we are going to talk about the different models, the chat mode, the edit mode, the available models in the Visual Studio Code, the news, the latest news, and we are going to have 2 or 3 demos about that. So let's get started. All right. So before doing the demo, let's see how are the options that exist with GitHub Copilot on our editor, and we are going to do with today with Visual Studio Code. So as you can see here, I have the extension of GitHub Copilot is installed, and I have already connected to my account, and we can even update to the latest version. So once you install this, you will have this icon right here. So you can see this here, and I can click here and we will see the chat. So let me do this again here, and here we can see the chat here in order to start building and chatting with the GitHub Copilot. Some of the features that have been added recently. So each conversation that we will have, we will see it right here in the chat history, and like that we will have sessions. So let's start talking about different modes that we have in our GitHub Copilot. So here, as you can see, we have the agent mode, the ask mode, the edit mode, and the latest one that have been added, which is the plan mode. So in the agent mode, we talk about vibe coding. The agent will do it works for us. So we'll ask something via instruction or via prompt, and the agent will start writing code and editing files for us. There is the ask mode, just to ask some stuff, and the copilot will answer to us, like for example, asking ChatGPT in the portal of the ChatGPT. Same here. There is edit mode that will help editing some files here. We will ask, for example, the agent or the copilot to edit a CSS file for us. And there is the plan mode. It is the latest and the recent one that have been added. In this plan mode, it will give you a full plan before the execution. So we will see the different steps that will be done before executing. So this is a bit different from the agent mode. All right, we'll talk about the chat modes later, the custom ones, because this is custom ones. And here we can see the different models that we have. So we can choose auto one that will choose anyone from these models that depends on the project you are working on. And here we have some free models like the GPT 4.1, the 4.0, the GPT-5 mini. We have the Raptor also, which is in preview. And in the paid plan, we have even the latest GPT 5.2. This is the most recent one. And we have the GPT 5.1 Codex and Codex Max that can be used. Also, we have the Gemini models, and we have the Claude Sonnet 4.5, and we have the HiQ and Opus models. And if you have developed your own model, you can click on Manage Models right here. Let me zoom out. And here you can click on Add Models, select the model where your model exists. For example, if your model exists on Foundry local via Toolkit or on Azure or Grok, you just need to import your API key and you can use your model from here. All right, so this is where we should chat with the GitHub Copilot. So right here, I can ask it, develop for me a landing page for my personal website. All right. So we can chat right here. We can send the chat with this button right here. And here we can configure the tools in order to ask to use a couple of the tools that exist. For example, here we have GitHub Copilot for app modernization. There is GitHub Copilot for other stuff. And I have other tools that I have installed. All right. So when we ask the agent or the copilot to do stuff, we will have the chat history right here, and even the chat for all the session right here on the right. And like that, we can choose a mode. For example, here we can ask copilot some instructions. All right. So let me remove this. So let's start with our first demo right now. And here we are going to ask the GitHub Copilot right here to create a coffee and water buddy application. So will be an application that will follow how many coffees we have drink every day, and a reminder for us to drink water. Someone like me who drink a lot of coffee and forgot most of the time to drink water. So we can create Copilot custom section here inside the by creating a new folder .github, and we create the custom section. This is a way to do that, or we can create it from here. So here we can you can create custom section. So here, as you can see, we can create custom agent, prompt files, or chat instruction, and we can even generate chat instruction. So I can click like that, and I can create a new instruction file, and it will be in GitHub instruction right here. And here we can hit enter like that, and we can create the custom instruction file. So let me zoom out. I didn't hit enter, or we can create right here a .github folder, and inside that folder we can create the copilot instruction.md file. So there is different ways. So here I will create a new folder, for example, .github, like that. And in this folder, I will create an instruction file. So like that, Copilot instruction. Okay. So this is our markdown file, and I have already created or prepared the content of this markdown. So here you are an expert front-end engineer and UX engineer, and you are going to build an application that will be responsive, mobile first, that will use modern HTML, CSS, and vanilla JavaScript, and it will use emojis, and it will ensure that it works on different platforms. So this is the Copilot instruction that is a convention that the agent will follow all along developing this project. Okay, cool. So we must choose the agent mode if you are going to work with this Copilot instruction. Right now, I want to add a custom agent. So this custom agent, it will be an agent responsible for the UI of this application. It will help designing the entire application. So this time, instead of creating this from here manually, I will just go right here, click on settings, and here I can choose custom agent and create a new custom agent under the GitHub agents, and I will give just the name of the file. So like that, I will hit enter. Here's, let me hit enter. And like that, we have our agent right here. Let's zoom in just to show it. So here, a new folder has been created, name it agent, and here we have our health UI agent. And here inside this health UI agent, we can put these different instructions right here. So I have already prepared my instructions. I will copy this instruction right here. I will show you the content of these instructions. So here, the name is Health UI Copilot, and here designing playful health-related web apps with animation and nostalgia theme. And here I'm asking the agent, the custom agent that I'm creating, to be based on custom retro UI themes based on Windows XP 19th or early 2000s UI. So the application need to follow this theme that I am wanting to create. All right, so here we have creating the agent, and this is a specialized Copilot persona. All right, so right now, instead of coming right here and typing using the agent that I have developed, this is the health UI. So instead of coming right here and writing a couple of lines in order to ask this agent or this custom agent that we have created to create the website, what I will do, I will create a custom prompt and I will call that prompt. So I will create a UI prompt and I will create a logic prompt. So in order to create prompt, like we have created a custom agent here, you can create prompt files. So hit new prompt file under GitHub prompts, and I will give it a name like that. And here we can create our first prompt. So in this prompt file, I will just here add the criteria like that. So in this first prompt file, I will be asking to create a Windows XP inspired UI for a coffee and water tracking app. And here I'm setting all the requirements. And here we have the wanted output from our custom agent. So this will be about the UI only of the application. So if I want, I can create another prompt file for the logic of this application. So the logic is, for example, the tracking of the number of copies consumed or reminding or reminder for water drinking. So let's create a new prompt file and prompt files, new prompt files under the GitHub prompts, and here the logic. And in this one, I will just do like that. And here I have added the instruction on this prompt. So generate JavaScript logic for tracking number of coffees, animated progress bar, and water drinking reminders every 60 minutes. All right. So like that, we have creating the agent, the custom chat mode, the prompts, and here we have the instruction. So let's start building this small website. So let me zoom in right here. So here we can choose one of the models that exist. So I'm going to go, for example, with the latest GPT 5.2. And here I will select the chat mode that I have created. And here we can see the different prompts that we have on this project. So if I type, for example, here, let me choose UI prompt. So UI prompt. Let me zoom out just to see clearly my prompts. All right, so let me zoom in again, and here I will hit like that, and I will look for the UI prompt. All right, I have it right here. Build the website based on this, and I will hit enter, and here we can see that is some stuff being initialized. And here this is, I don't need actually this MCP function. I must have commented this part. So as you can see here, planning website structure and features. So here, as you can see, we can see I'm going to scan the repo structure, then add a simple XP styled Windows XP styled single page app HTML CSS. So here the agent or the custom chat mode is telling us what is going to do for us. So let's wait for this. All right. All right, we can see that the Copilot here in this chat mode have added different files here. We have the index, we have the style CSS, and we have different files. And here we can even given us the command in order to run this website. So let's click on allow, and here it will launch this command in order to will launch the website in order to see the results. All right. So let me say the result of this website that have been created. I can see here we have an error because Python is not available on this machine. So I will click like that. The editor is trying to figure out if I have Node installed, if I have npm installed or .NET. So here it is saying that I don't have this stuff because I just formatted my PC, so I don't have anything installed. And here it is trying to use Node in order to run this project. So let's say, and here it's trying, as you can see, using Node.js. And we are going to see the result on this website. All right. All right, so after running that command and opening the result on the live server, here it is our website that have been fully created by the Copilot right here. So we can add coffees right here, as you can see, and we have beautiful animation right here. We can undo, we can add, we can reset, and here we can see the water reminder part. I drank water, and like that we will have this like that. This is beautiful animation, and here we have this nose button, and here we have the reset button. So all this have been created by Copilot. So I didn't write any line of code. All this have been created by the custom instruction that we have created and the prompt. So let me go back here and let me remove this. Right now, I have called only the UI prompt, and I didn't yet call the logic prompt. So this logic prompt will help us track the number of coffee consumed, animated progress, bar update, what we're doing, reminder every 60 minutes. So here the chat mode that we have created, it followed the UI instruction, but there is some logic that have been created also here, because it found out that there is a prompt file related to the logic that is related to the chat mode that we have created. Else, if we want to use that prompt, we can do like that, and we can type logic and implement this to our project, and we can hint type enter. All right, let me stop this and enter again. And here we are asking to follow instruction in the logic prompt.md, and you can see that the chat mode here in the agent mode is starting to think and implementing our request by adjusting the code that have been created. So let me zoom out. I will remove all this like that. So here I'm going to update the existing app.js to fully match the logic prompt MD, and add a clear comment, ensure your reminder repeat every 60 minutes, even in your. So here I can see that there is a file that have been edited, the app.js, as you can see, and here we can see the different changes. I will hit on keep. Cool. And right now the application have been edited. So let me run the application again. And here, let me refresh. Let me take it on private navigation, for example, like that. And here add coffee. And here we have the beautiful animation. And here we have the countdown. So for the 60 minutes and the next reminder. And we can have the snooze here, and like that. We can reset it. And here we can click on reset. And this is our application. And when I click on reset here, the countdown is also reset, as you can see. So this is actually beautiful. We have not created anything by ourselves. Everything have been created by GitHub Copilot. All right, let's do one more thing. Let's add another prompt, and in this prompt we will ask for some more UI enhancement. So let me go back right here, and here I'm going to add uh, another prompt file. So instead of writing right here all the stuff that I want to be added, for example, I want to have animation for the progress bar. I want to have an emoji for example, plus one coffee added. I want to have some bouncing, glowing and loading bar. So I will create just another prompt file. Oops, not like that. Prompt file, new prompt file, and here I will name it XPO prompt. All right. And I have already prepared something. I will just copy. I'll remove this part here. And I will assign this to the custom chat mode that I have created. So the health UI, like that. And again, I will look for that XPO. So I can see it right here. Implement this. And I will hit enter. We can choose another model right here. For example, if we want to use Opus or Sonnet, or we can use just the GPT-5 here, or the codex. For example, I will choose the codex right now, and I will hit enter. So I will enable this. And as you can see, using for references, so it can see that we have some tools and we have Copilot instruction here. It will be based on this instruction, and the models and the Copilot are reading the different files that we have, and they are thinking through the custom prompt that we have added. So here it's reading the content and thinking. Let's wait a couple of seconds, and we must see some animation for coffee celebration and water reminding delights. So let's wait. Here, if you when the Copilot is thinking, we have this beautiful icon right here. So it can show us here that there is a local chat agent in progress. Here we can see the premium request. For example, for this month, I have used 1.1% of the premium request of 100%. We can see the chat message, the inline suggestion. We can see the inline suggestion for the files and the prompts, and we can even snooze GitHub Copilot to stop giving suggestion in our Visual Studio Code editor. For example, sometimes I worked. I remember sometimes I worked on an existing project, an older project for a client, and I did really know what I have to do. So I didn't want Copilot to give me suggestions. So I did click right here to snooze Copilot for a couple of minutes. All right, so I can see here that already have some changes in the index. We can see through this file like that. Let's keep. Let me zoom out. So here we have the chat mode that have edited the index.html, and it's still editing and thinking here right here, as you can see. All right, so it's still thinking, and here the style CSS have been edited too. All right, it's not finished yet. We can still see right here that the local chat agent in progress. So we can have local chat agent, and we can even have a cloud agent that will work for us, or even we can have codex agent developed by OpenAI in order to work for us. So we can have local agent and even cloud agent. All right, so the app.js have been modified too. All right, it's still thinking. And this custom chat mode works uh, by the rules or the convention that we have creating on the custom chat mode. For example, one of the best chat mode that I have used today, and I will show it in another demo right here, is for example the beast mode. So I will show that. Let me keep this. So adding XP. All right, I think it's almost done, but it's still thinking. So the beast mode is one of the best custom agents that I have used, and I will show it in something as a surprise for the Festive Tech Calendar project. So keep, we can see here the all the session and the historic chat that we had. We can select any one of this. It's like on the ChatGPT portal, you can see the all the conversation that you have done with the ChatGPT. Same right here with the Copilot. There is this menu right here. You can see all the old conversation that you have. All right. So it's still editing the app.js file, and it's still thinking. Let me just pause for just 1 second until this is finished, just to not waste your time. All right, so all the modification have been done, and you can see there is here this beautiful animation system wellness check running, and we can click on this button and you can see here XP Wellness Assistant, and again, one coffee, system running faster, another one, another one, and another one, another one, another one, another one, and we have this beautiful animation right here. We can reset it through this button like that. So here we have the hydration check for the water. I drank water, and here water logged system cooled nicely. Click OK, and we can snooze for 15 minutes in order to snooze both of the coffee drinking or the water reminder. And I can click I drink water like that again, again, and like that, and we can reset this button. So this is beautiful animation that have been added through the other prompt file that I have created. Now we can even create another prompt file, for example, in order to modernize this view, for example, for like a Windows 11 style. All right, so this is a quick demo of how to use the chat mode, the prompts, and the Copilot instruction. And this code will be shared on my personal repo on my personal GitHub. So this was an example of how we use GitHub Copilot. I will close this, and I'm going to show you something that I have already working on and created. So I have seen the website that have been provided by the Festive Tech calendar, and I said, why not do an example created by the Copilot agent? So let me show you the result and the different chat mode and the prompt that I have used. All right, so the website is hosted on Azure as a static web application. So this is the website that have been created by following the different chat mode, the prompt, and the instructions that they have created. So this is the website. Here we have the topics. We have the event samples right here where we can see the event, the day, and the description. We can contribute by submitting a session right here by giving the instruction, the chosen date, and the format of the participation or the session. And here we can see the donation of for cancer charities right here. This is what Festive Tech calendar is doing every year. So we can click like here to explore the events. We can click here to go to schedule, go to the different speakers that we have on this event right here. We can click on back to this home page, and we can learn more from this. We can change the theme right here. As you can see, this is right now. Submit the session. This is beautiful like that, and we can go and click articles, and we can click like that to go between the dark theme and the white theme. And here we have the about the event for Festive Tech calendar. So let me go back right here how I have created this. So as usual, I have used a custom chat mode that exists, and it is shared by Microsoft, the beast mode chat mode here that is created by Berghand. So this is a custom mode that have a lot of description like that. And also I have added different prompts. So this is a prompt, for example, to generate and enhance a Blazor web application. And this is another prompt to work on the charity part. And here I have created also the Copilot instruction file that will have the coding standard for these websites, the best practice for developing our application, the performance consideration, the UX integration, and the design system. So here I have asked all this, and by asking right here the mode that I have used, the beast mode, these full website have been created, and even GitHub Copilot made sure to implement that on GitHub. So let me show you the page. So here I have the report right here. So GitHub Copilot have shared this on my GitHub, and also even created the action in order to deploy the website on the Azure Static Web App. So all these have been created by simple constructions, chat mode, and prompts through the Visual Studio code editor, and this GitHub Copilot configuration. So you can create full website, you can create even the infra. So I have even tried to create infrastructure as code using Terraform, using the Copilot. Just put your convention in an instruction file right here and create your prompt, or type your prompt right here, and use the agent mode or create a specific chat mode, and everything will be done. All right, so this was the demo about the custom instruction, the prompt mode, the chat mode. We have seen here, we have a couple of stuff that we can see here. When we are using the local agent, we can snooze the agent, we can see the use of the agent, and here this is the beautiful icon that I like. And here we can see the historical conversation. So if I double click like that, we can see and go to a section when we have asked for something. This is good for the history. And here through this button, we can create a custom chat mode, custom prompt files. We can give chat instruction, and we can even generate chat instruction. For example, if you have already a project, you can ask GitHub Copilot to generate chat instruction based on everything that exists on your project. So like that, you don't have to create the full instruction file, but automatically GitHub Copilot will generate the instruction file for you. All right, so that was all about the custom instruction and GitHub Copilot. Next, we are going to talk about the MCP server. All right, so moving on, right now we are going to talk about the Model Context Protocol, or what we call MCP. AI today is making our lives easier, but its capabilities are still limited. So it is not possible to exceed the learned data by AI today. However, with a mechanism called MCP, or Model Context Protocol, AI will be able to freely use a real-time information and external tools. So LLMs have a short memory and can keep all the context we need. Today, MCP is like a translator that gives the model extra knowledge and tools so it can work smarter without forgetting. Just as USB-C connects various devices with standardized interface, MCP connects generative AI models with various data sources and tools in a standardized way. For example, let's say you are developing an AI assistant that integrate with 10 different services, such as calendar, email, weather forecast, stocks, quotes, and more. In the past, you had to write separate integration code for each of the 10 APIs. However, with MCP, you only need to implement the MCP client once, and it will be easy to integrate with all MCP enabled services. This allows developers to work with a wide variety of systems through a single protocol called MCP. So instead of having to develop several separate API integration, it will be like that, carried around in different chargers. You can now charge all your devices with a single USB-C. So MCP, it is an open protocol. It is called the SPC for AI, and it can also guarantee secure communication channels in order to communicate between AI models. So as we said, just as USB-C, it will simplify how you connect different devices to your computer. So for that, we will need an MCP host. These are the application like Cloud Desktop or AI-driven IDE needing access to external data or tools. We need an MCP client which will maintain dedicated one-to-one communication with MCP service. We need also MCP servers, which are lightweight servers exposing specific functionality via MCP and connecting to local or remote data source. So the local data source can be files, database, or services securely accessed by MCP servers. The remote service, it can be external internet based APIs or service accessed by MCP servers. So in practice, an MCP client, for example, Python script or client, it can communicate with MCP servers that manage interaction with a specific tool like Gmail, Slack, or Calendar app. This will remove any complexity, letting developer quickly enable simple interaction with different tools. For example, let's say we are going to create an MCP for trip planning assistant. So in the old way, we need to use APIs. So you will write separate code, for example, for a Google Calendar, email, airline booking API, and each with custom logic for authentication, context passing, and error handling. Using the MCP, your AI assistant smoothly check your calendar for availability, book flights, and email confirmation. All this via MCP servers, so there is no custom integration per tool required. And with an intelligent code editor today, like Visual Studio Code, in the using API part, you will need manually to integrate your IDE with a file system, version control, package managers, and installing and updating and documentation. Using the MCP, your IDE can connect to this via a single MCP protocol, enabling richer context awareness and more powerful suggestion. So today, the benefits are MCP. It is simplified for development, so you need to write once, integrate multiple times without rewriting custom code for every integration. It is flexible, so you can switch AI models or tools without complex reconfiguration. You can use real-time readiness. You can secure and have compliance to build a very secure communication, and it is scalable, so you can easily add a new capability as your AI ecosystem grows by simply connecting to another MCP server. All right, we have seen the MCP host, the client, and the server. And as we said, if you are going to integrate, for example, our solution today with Gmail, Calendar, Slack, Google Maps, Google Drive, OneDrive, WhatsApp, Telegram, you need to create or to use a different API, different key for each of these APIs. So the traditional way, we will need to have different APIs, different data source, different endpoint, different communication, and this is a bit complex, and it will need a lot of knowledge of these different services and how to communicate between each one of these individual doors. With the MCP, there is a single protocol. MCP acts as a standardized connector, so integrating one MCP means potential access to multiple tools and services, not just one. So here, this is the MCP, and this data source to be connected as tools to this AI application. This is remind me of something we have watched when we are kids. It reminds me the keymaker. I can see, or I can say that the MCP act as this key that have been created by the keymaker. It will allow us to communicate between different resources through a single protocol, and like that it will be easier for us to, for example, communicate through the editor with a database to extract some data, and communicate, for example, with Slack to answer this data. For example, I can ask through, for example, the chat mode or the agent mode, through an MCP server, for example, that will be connected to a database and Slack to look for the recent data that have been added at a certain time and location, and answer this information to a channel inside Slack. Like that, I will not create some API interaction with Slack in order to connect with Slack, and also I will not have to create custom SQL instruction in order to get these results. There is a lot of pre-built in MCP servers for Google Drive integration, Slack communication, GitHub repositories, PostgreSQL database, and these exist on the official MCP servers website. So there is some MCP servers that are already existing for the developer tools. So we can use GitHub. We can use the MCP GitHub. For example, today I use it in order to update some repos. So I only need through the agent mode or to to tell the agent to update or create, for example, a new pull request, create a new issue in order to work on that issue, and the MCP server will do that for me. There is MCP server for Figma, for Playwright testing, for reading through the Microsoft documentation, and a lot and another MCP servers. Here, for example, for productivity in order to interact with Notion, and here, for example, with Asana, Atlassian for Confluence pages. Here we have for data to integrate it with DuckDB, for example, and Neon and MongoDB. And there is also for business services, for example, with Stripe to manage subscription and generate payment, PayPal, and also here with Cloud Infra, for example, with Azure. For example, we can interact with an MCP server to create and manage resources for us. Also for Azure DevOps and Terraform by HashiCorp. So I will not do a lot of demos about this, but I will talk maybe about some MCP client that I have used. For example, the Brave Search, which enable web search capabilities through Brave browser, and Playwright MCP that will help us automate testing. For example, testing a framework that we have used in order to create a website. And there is also the GitHub MCP. Through this, I can interact with my GitHub account in order to create a new pull request. I will not use a demo with these ones. There is already on my YouTube channel a couple of demos about this, but maybe I will talk about the custom demo that I have prepared. So I have developed a custom MCP server that I will talk about. So I'm a bit lazy. I have an Excel file, and inside this Excel file, I have some data. So this data is about the expenses that I have done through this month. So anything that I have bought, I inserted in this Excel file in order to track my expenses. So each time I need to do that, I had to open an Excel file, and this Excel file, I have to update it. Sometimes I forget, sometimes I put the wrong number, sometimes I want just to calculate everything that exists, so I need to go through the rows in order to read that. Sometimes I just need some results about the full expenses or what is left for me in order to do on this Excel file. So because I'm lazy, I don't want to do this through the Excel file every time. I have created an MCP server. I will talk through this MCP server using the Visual Studio Code editor to this Excel file through an MCP server that is hosted inside an Azure function that I have developed using Python, and I can interact with that Excel file without opening the file. So let's see how this works. All right. So as I said, I have created an application or an MCP server in order to work with my budget and expenses inside an Excel file or a CSV file. So I'm lazy. I don't want anymore to manage that through documentation. So I said, why not doing that through an MCP server? So if you are into developing MCP servers, there is a lot of SDKs that are available on the Microsoft Learn page that you can see, and you can use in order to develop an MCP server. So I have used Python in this demo. Usually I use C#, but this time I said, why not use Python in order to do that? So as you can see here, I have a couple of functions inside my Azure function. So I have the add expense, the categorize expense, the get budget, get expense, get snippet, get spending summary, and the basic hello MCP and save snippet. So this Azure function also is connected to a storage account inside my subscription here. And this storage account contain a container, and inside this container there is a blob, a CSV file, and inside this CSV file there is this data right here. So it contains this list. This list contains a table that have data, amount, category, and description. And right here we can see the groceries, supermarket visits, and we can see the date and the amount, after that the category and the description. So basically I insert this data and I can even get summary for this data using this MCP server. So how to call it, how to use it inside GitHub Copilot. Let's go to GitHub Copilot. So here we are inside the GitHub Copilot. In order to see the different MCP servers that exist or installed in our IDE, we need to click on extension, and here we can see the list of the MCP servers that are installed. From these MCP servers, I have too many that have been installed. Here you can see the file system. So this is an MCP server that will allow the GitHub Copilot inside the Visual Studio Code to manage the files inside a folder or many folders. For example, one of the examples that I have done in earlier presentation, let's say you have 1,000 files inside a folder, and there is different types: pictures, MP4 files, MP3 files, PDF files, and PowerPoint presentation. And you are asked to organize all these files per type inside folder. So in order to not waste a lot of time, instead of creating manually each folder and doing copy paste, and we are human after all, we can make mistakes, we can just enable this MCP server and ask it to organize these files based on the type or the extension and create a folder by extension. And like that, instead of doing this in 1 hour, it can be done in less than 30 seconds. Here we have the GitHub MCP server that can be used in order to connect us to GitHub. For example, you can ask the MCP server to create a pull request, create an issue, make changes on a pull request, etc. Here we have an MCP server that can access the Microsoft documentation. Here we have another Playwright MCP server that can be used for testing. And here the custom MCP server that I have created. So this was created inside an Azure function, but how we can integrate it inside the IDE right here. So in order to see that, we need to click right here. As you can see, we have the start button, we have the show output button, show configuration, and here we have the show configuration JSON format. So as you can see here, we have the different configuration. For example, we have right here for GitHub, we have for Playwright, and here we have the configuration for the custom MCP function that I have created. Here we have URI, and here I have encrypted the key of the Azure function. So in order to use this MCP server, we need to click right here on start button, and as you can see here, it have already detected that it contains 8 tools or 8 functions that are inside this Azure function. So I can click right here start, and as you can see, it is running right now. We can see the tools, and we can click more and see the output. So let me zoom out. Here we can click show output to see the result of the prompts. So I will just come right here, and here inside this button right here, we can click configure tools, and we can see the different tools that we have inside our IDE and that we can use with the GitHub Copilot. So here we can see that you have Redis, SQL Server, GitHub, GitHub Copilot, and we can see different MCP servers. For example, here we have the file system, and here we have the remote MCPs function that I have created, and here we can see all the tools that exist. We can select some tools, we can disable some tools. So for example, I will remove these two tools. I don't need them. Here I can remove this, and I will use one of these tools in order to get results. So I will start by get budget status. So I will just type right here, get budget status, and we will see the result in a second right here. Let's hit enter. As you can see here, activating starting MCP server. All right. And right now, the Copilot will try to work with the right MCP server extension. So optimizing tool selection. Let me zoom out. And as you can see right here, it detected that we need to run get a budget status right here using the remote MCP function right here. So it asks us if you want to run this command. I will hit allow, and it is running right now the get budget status, and here we will see the result in few seconds. So the remaining budget for 2512 is $1,000, which is this is the budget that we have right now. All right, so what about adding something to this budget? So let's see the tools that we have right here. I will disable this and git kraken. I do not want this, and let me go here. So in order to add expenses, I will use add expense right here, and I will need to add some expenses. So I will remove this. I don't need it. I don't need this one. I don't need this one. I will hit OK and add expenses. I will say I bought $22. The $22 and in description laptop RAM and the category laptop. Let's try this. So we will add the amount $222, the category laptop, the description laptop RAM, and the date. By default it will take today. So I will hit enter allow. So adding expense, and here this have been logged. So let's zoom out and let's go and refresh this page. And as you can see here, we have a new row that have been added, the $222, the category laptop, and the description right here, and the date right here. So like that, we didn't do anything. The MCP server using the MCP client that we are using right now, which is inside the Visual Studio Code, have added automatically these rows right here. So let's discover more tools inside this MCP server. So we have categorize expense, get budget status, get expenses. So this is, for example, to retrieve expenses filtered by month, an optional category. So, and here get spending summary. So we can get a spending summary between two dates. So let me get expenses. So here, get expenses. So automatically it have been detected that will run this, and we can even allow this always in this session or inside this workspace, so I don't have to click and hit this button each time. I don't want to do that for now. I will click on allow, and it's analyzing the file and it will return the results for us right now. Let's wait for a few seconds and run, and here, so this is the expenses for this month. So the PC I want to bid, it costs $2,000, and the $222 laptop RAM that I will bought. So if we go back to the files right here, and we can see for the December we only have this data like that. So if I want, let me try right here, get expenses for November, and let's see the results. So as you can see directly here, it selected the month 11, and I will hit enter. And here we can see all the expenses for this month, and we can even ask it to calculate the sum of these expenses. So this was a small presentation about the MCP server, how powerful it is. So imagine what we can do right here. We can use an MCP server, another MCP server that is connected to our Gmail or Outlook account. And like that, we can, for example, create a cron in order to analyze the expenses right here, and automatically it will send the results via email to our Outlook and maybe to some other platform to analyze the category and what we have spent. So the MCP server really help us with the context, with the access to the context, to get real-time data and work with this data, and it really complete the GitHub Copilot. All right. So this was the presentation about GitHub Copilot, how we can use the instruction, the prompts, and also the different chat modes, also how we can integrate the MCP server. I know this was a session that contained a lot of details and demos. If you are interested, you can reach out to me at any time in order to see in details the creation of the MCP server, or how to enhance the instruction, the prompts, and the chat mode inside Visual Studio Code. I hope you liked this session. Enjoy the event, and thank you again for letting me and giving me this chance to share with the festive tech calendar this knowledge. Have a great year and wish you all the best.